What's going on, YouTubers, gamers and hobbyists, and welcome to this episode of my 40k updates chat, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but there it is anyway. Today I'm going to be discussing the movement, the update that's come out about the movement and the psychic phase, and then I'm also going to be looking at I don't know if it's rumours or whether it's fact. Some stuff that's come out from Fate 212, so I'll be going over that as well, talking about the new starter set and a date for the actual release. So let's start with the movement. Now, I've printed these off so I can review them like I did previously, and it's all new to me as well, so please bear that in mind. So if I seem a bit, I'm not sure what it means, then that's because I don't understand it, but we'll see what it says anyway. I'll just read it as it's got here. It says, movement has always been key to Warhammer 40,000. Positioning your units for optimum arcs of fire, advancing to claim objectives, or just plain old charging across the battlefield into combat. Yes, movement in the new edition will be very familiar to players of the game today, but the rules team have taken the opportunity to improve a few elements. In the new edition, every model has its own movement characteristic. This means that rather than every model moving 6 inches, unless specified otherwise, things like Terminators will advance slowly and inexorably, while Harlequins leap and bound, and bikes and speeders zip across the battlefield. Now that's quite an important thing. I think that's good. But I know you have to kind of sacrifice certain elements of realism in a game such as this, but it's nice to have some things a little bit more realistic. Some units will have a minimum move too. This mostly applies to flyers who can't stop. Yeah, makes sense. Again, this is much like the rules today, but every flyer will have their own minimum and maximum move value to represent the fact that swift fighters will naturally be quicker than a lumbering bomber. And that reminds me of the game of Trafalgar I played fairly recently, which was a game by Warhammer of ships. So obviously they have to move their full movement. They can back sail, which slows them down, but whichever option they choose, they have to move the full movement. So if it's like 3 inches, they've got to go 3 inches. You can't just say, oh, I'll just move an inch because that suits me better. You can't do that. Running has been rolled into the movement phase now too, but that's a bit more like it, because having it in the shooting phase, it didn't make any sense at all. You can advance when you move by rolling a dice and adding the result to your movement to go a bit faster at the expense of shooting. Yeah, but you know, to have it in the movement phase, that's so much more, I don't know, just logical, I think. This applies to all models, infantry, vehicles, bikes, everyone. By including this role as part of your move, the game speeds up as you no longer have to move models in both the movement and shooting phases. Yes. Other than that, the movement rules are pretty much what you'd expect today. No moving through enemy models unless you can fly over them, and no walking through solid walls. Logical stuff. Also, one would think. But that's pretty cool. Oh, there was one last thing. Uh-oh. If you're in combat at the start of your turn, you can fall back by moving away from the enemy. You'll lose the ability to advance, shoot or charge that turn, and crucially, enemies will be able to shoot you. Now that's a pretty big deal, I think. This does, however, open up a vast range of tactical options for armies like the Astra Militarum, who will now be able to effectively deploy in firing lines, with each row falling back from any assailants in good order, if they survived. While the unit behind them fires at the attackers. It goes both ways though. If you have a dedicated assault unit that specialises in killing infantry, like warp battalions, your opponent will find it much harder to pin them down in combat with heavily armoured units for the entire game. That's a big change, and that is a big change. We'll let that rattle around your brain for a day, and we'll be back tomorrow with news about the psychic phase. Well, in our case, we're going to come right to it. But yes, that is a big deal, a very, very big deal. But I like it. I like it a lot. So yeah. So rather than just have a tar pit which bogs up that unit for the entire game, potentially, they can move back now or get out of it. Yeah, I like that a lot. I do. I think that's great. That is going to open up a whole range of tactical areas. That's cool. I like that. I really do. So I shall mull that over. So let's go on to the psychic phase that I printed up there. Right. The psychic phase for the new Warhammer 40,000 has changed a fair bit. Okay. Don't know why I'm doing that. It's my psychicness. Previously, each of your psychers would generate warp charge for your pool. Yes. This worked pretty well in most games, but in very psyker-heavy armies, it often meant that some psychers sat around not doing a whole bunch, while one or two mega psychers, we're looking at you, Magnus, you big warp charge hog, had all the fun. In the new system, the psychic phase has been reworked from the ground up. Okay. Each time you pick a psyker, you can cast as many spells as their data sheet states, which would previously be the same as their mastery level. And there's a simpler 2 dice mechanic for casting. You just need to beat the warp charge value. The more potent the power, the harder it'll be to cast. Excellent. I'm all for making it simpler. Enemy psychers will then have the chance to block these powers if they are within 24 inches. And again, the mastery of the psyker will dictate how often they can block a power each turn. The new system is much more scalable, meaning that the phase works well at any size of game and with any number of psychers running around. Sounds great. Good. Perils of the Warp is still there, of course. It wouldn't be Warhammer 40,000 without the chance of accidentally having your mind eaten by a demon and your soul sucked into the psychic oblivion of the warp, while your body exploded in a multifaceted explosion of etheric ichor. Every faction will have its own psychic lore, with a range of thematic powers. In addition, every psyker knows the smite power. Every psyker knows the smite. Cool. Smite, and then we've got it here, there. Alright, I'll read it out to you. Smite. Smite has a warp charge value of 5 if manifested. The closest visible unit within 18 inches of the psyker suffers D3 mortal wounds. If the result of the psychic test was more than 10, the target suffers D6 mortal wounds instead. Mortal wounds are a new mechanic too. These cannot be saved by any means and punch straight through thick armour and even invulnerable saves. Ouch. Okay, look forward to seeing that tested, or testing that myself even. And that's the basics on the psychic phase. We'll be back tomorrow with news on one of our updated Warzones from the new Warhammer 40,000, and on Sunday we'll be looking at the shooting phase. Great. So they're not stopping. They're not stopping on this train, are they? They're just going. Well, thus far, that's. I am very intrigued by that. I think I'm more intrigued about the fact that you can withdraw from assault on the start of your turn. Presumably, they're not going to run you down at that point, so that's very, very, very interesting to me. And I do like the sound of the psychic phase setup, what they're suggesting there. Right, now this next portion, I don't know how true this is, whether this is just hearsay or not, but it's the source is from Fate 212, and it says, it's hard to read because it's kind of blacked out. It says the new starter set is Death Guard versus Ultramarines, and is coming on June 17th. We don't quite yet have a model count, but it looks like there's going to be quite a bit in the box. So I don't know whether this is in GW or just somewhere else. Also below, We are being told that you'll get to choose our warlord traits and psychic powers. Nice. Again, this source is rather solid, so it's not 100% though, is it? With information, but again, consider these rumours until we get official released information. Starter set. The starter set goes live on the 17th. What did I say? That was June 17th, and it's going to be Death Guard versus Ultramarines, $120 box. Chaos gets a blob of cultists, a few Terminators, a few Plague Marines, a Lord and drones. Loyalists get 2 tactical squads, a Devastator, an Assault squad, plus a Librarian and a Captain. Comes with dice and rulers as well. Okay. In addition, there will be the standard softcover core rules booklet and a small campaign book. The campaign book has the stats for all the dudes in the box, plus a series of narrative missions that set up the ground floor for the first real story arc of the new edition. It says Codex. AOS was very much a test kitchen for what to expect of the new Warhammer 40k. AOS had a rocky start, but they learned from their mistakes, and recently, even AOS has surpassed 40k in some regards. The Battle Tome will become the template for the Codex. Sorry, it's very hard to read. Not the other way around. Each Dex will get the special army-wide rules, 6 to 12 relics, 6 warlord traits and 6 psychic powers. Only now it's written that you can choose to either select or roll on warlord psychic charts. It will also contain full rules and points for all the old and new units in a given army, and special rules for things like warbands, campaigns, narrative missions and the like. Formations are back, but they cost points now, and so are Decurions, but they will be a lot more flexible and take cues from their AOS counterparts. Overview. Bear in mind this is all not 100%. 6th and 7th editions suffered from growing pains and an identity crisis. I think they all suffered some pains with them. GW spent a good amount of time and money figuring out what they want 8th edition to really feel like, and are using what they learned in 40k 6th and 7th edition and AOS version 1.0 to 1.2 to rebuild 40k from the ground up. They want new players to feel less intimidated by the dense lore and setting, but want to keep returning players invested in the storyline. Black Library is going to do a soft reboot for some of the new 40k lore books with a gimmicky new Warhammer type flagship launch to, as I said before, lay down a ground floor for the upcoming 8th edition. Right, that's all. I don't know how true any of that bit is, but I wanted to get that out there as well. Excuse me. Moving the tail around. So, Death Guard versus Ultramarines. We'll see. I'm anxious to get my hands on it, obviously. But I'll just keep. In the meantime, I'll just keep waiting, see what other updates come out, and I'll go through them with you as well. Okay, my voice is going a bit, so I'll say goodbye for now. Remember, all brushes lead to war. I will see you on the next video. God bless. Bye bye.